this is usually the best entry the cycle is going to give you. This is usually the best entry point for Bitcoin. So that is what we need to discuss within today's update video. We will discuss a lot more than only that, like all of the most important Bitcoin charts and price data, the latest news hitting the markets. We will discuss what is going to be next year for next week for the crypto markets. I will give a big update on my trading positions and on my upcoming game plan for new trades. And we will of course discuss Ethereum and altcoins later in today's update video. So from there guys, make sure to first of all subscribe to the channel, watch and like my latest YouTube videos, and then we can dive into the most important content. Since I found an indicator that is exactly showing us where Bitcoin and when Bitcoin could be breaking lower and where it is going to bottom out in which exact zone. Because if we look into Bitcoin at the weekly chart and overlay it with the Gaussian channels, we can clearly see something repeating every single 4-year cycle. And actually it is quite the interesting level, because if you're going to look into the candles themselves for Bitcoin, we can clearly see that Bitcoin has exactly been bouncing from off the low of the Gaussian channel and is now basically getting ejected from off this mid level in the Gaussian channel itself. But if Bitcoin is going to lose this exact level, which is the Gaussian low, I think we are going to drop into this next box for Bitcoin. And we will for sure know when that's going to happen, because the Gaussian channel flips bearish usually exactly at the moment or just shortly after. So we're going to know when this will be happening here. But once the Gaussian channel did flip negative here also in 2022, that was the moment we flipped into this lower zone of the potential bear market, and there we dropped ever so slightly lower. But on the other hand, this was also the best entry you were going to get, for example, last cycle. But here, during 2018, it was exactly the same, where we dropped below the Gaussian channel. Here the channel flipped negative before we dropped into this bear market box, this bear market zone. And this was the best entry you could possibly get on Bitcoin. Same can be said here for 2014, 2015. We broke lower, we bounced off the Gaussian channel. So that's something which is also happening now for Bitcoin at this major support level. We bounced off support, and once we did break below it, the Gaussian channel flipped negative and we entered this bear market zone. So what we are going to look into for Bitcoin in the next few weeks is going to be that red candle flip for the Gaussian channel, and if Bitcoin can be holding above this important support here on the low of the Gaussian channel. When Bitcoin is going to break below this low, confirm a weekly close, confirm a second weekly close, then I think we can clearly say that we've entered this bear market DCA zone, where we can most definitely be DCAing into Bitcoin and start to accumulate a big spot position. So that is what I'm currently looking into for Bitcoin, and I think this is indeed a very interesting chart. Before this could potentially happen, I think Bitcoin could move ever so slightly higher towards the 210 daily moving average trend line, because that is what we usually see after Bitcoin breaks below that 50 weekly moving average, which is basically the blue line here. After we break below this level, we usually do see a relief rally back up after we see the break in Q4 during the post-halving years. In the midterm year, usually we see a relief bounce back up. We could see this happening a little bit earlier, maybe this time in 2025, or otherwise it could still happen in the midterm year of 2026. And after that relief rally, that is usually the phase where Bitcoin does lose that Gaussian channel low. But yeah, as long as that's not going to be the case, we can also be expecting a Bitcoin bounce higher. And if Bitcoin is eventually going to hold up the low of the Gaussian channel and we are going to make new all-time highs again, I'm not saying this is going to be the most likely scenario. I personally don't think so at the current moment. But if that is going to happen, of course, we could start looking into the invalidation of the 4-year cycle. But for now, I don't think this is the most realistic scenario. But also, I will be the first one to say so if that is truly going to happen. So I think it's simply going to be important to stay up to date, to keep watching all of the upcoming update videos, because if we are going to get a very good entry on Bitcoin, it is going to be an absolute gift. Because even though a bear market could be getting started, and bear markets are in my opinion just part of the game, even though something like that could be getting started, we can be accumulating and we can be making quite a nice profit on our Bitcoin positions, for example, in the near future, simply by buying spots. So I will be very sharp on that possibility. Of course, in no way financial advice, but yeah, I think we have some good opportunities incoming. Like stated, once Bitcoin breaks below that 50 weekly moving average, we usually break lower. If you're going to zoom in on Bitcoin a little bit, and if you're going to switch this length towards the 100 weekly moving average, you can also see that is the exact level where Bitcoin has been bouncing from. So this also is the same level as that Gaussian channel low here. This is the most important support level for Bitcoin. If you're going to break lower, you can definitely see a bigger drawdown. Coming back towards this relief rally, which we could be seeing for Bitcoin, like stay doing all of the after all of Q4s in the post-halving years, we usually do see a relief rally back up to the 200 and daily moving average. And once we are going to see the relief rally, I think that's going to be an interesting opportunity also to short Bitcoin possibly. We just have to see how the price action is locally going to perform at that exact moment. But I think this is going to be a very interesting opportunity and yeah, a very good trading opportunity. And I will just keep you guys up to date about that also. Bitcoin itself got once again rejected from off the yearly high, so this seems to be the most important resistance level for Bitcoin. Hopefully we can be putting in another higher low here. That would be the most bullish scenario, because now we did create the first higher low here, which basically indicates that we are in somewhat of a local uptrend. If we can now make another higher low and we can move higher, break the yearly open, we are definitely going to see some bullish continuation, because this is some textbook bullish structure we're currently seeing for Bitcoin. And in my opinion, that's actually looking quite good here at the current moment. And then to discuss what's going to be happening next week, because next week is going to be a very big one. First of all, today we still have some PCE data incoming, some very important inflation data. We will be live streaming that on the channel also, so make sure to come and check it out. This will be some very important data because it's the last inflation data point before that next FOMC meeting, so make sure to be there. It's going to be a very important one. Then we don't have a lot up until next week on Tuesday, where we have a major job report incoming just before the FOMC meeting, so that could be having an effect on, of course, that FOMC meeting itself. And then on Wednesday we have the rate cut decision, and for now traders are still pricing in that the Fed is going to cut rates by another 25 basis points. So let's see about exactly that, but this is still the expectation by the market, and the market did almost already price in a full rate cut, a 25 bps rate cut for the next meeting. And then the big question is going to be, is Bitcoin going to repeat this exact pattern once again? Because after the last two FOMCs, Bitcoin has been dumping back to the downside after pumping into the FOMC meeting itself. This could most definitely be happening once again, but I personally think that, of course, the FOMC itself is going to be more important. I think this one is a little bit more uncertain. We do know that they're going to cut rates once again, but we don't know what there could possibly be getting said about QE, QT, and a lot of different stuff we have seen talks about and news about here in the last few weeks. For example, we do know that QT ended on the 1st of December. What is the Fed going to say about it? Are they going to clarify it? Are they going to say something about QE? A lot of stuff could be happening, and the monetary policy of the Federal Reserve is going to be super important for Ethereum, Bitcoin, all markets basically. So I think it could get quite volatile here. And I don't necessarily think this could be happening once again, or that this is going to happen once again. But what I do think is that we should be aware of that this happened during the last FOMC meetings. It is important to be aware of the scenario. And now I do want to discuss my Ethereum position that I actually did close yesterday, because I closed the Ethereum trading position in quite a nice profit. Also make sure to check out yesterday's update video if you do want to know more about that. And now I'm looking into potentially opening a Bitcoin short position here at these levels. And maybe if we can be breaking above this 200 daily moving average, and I will be having a lot of conviction in the break, we can be long in Bitcoin. But for now, I think I would just stay on the sidelines a little bit. I would just see where the market is going to be heading next. I'm currently reassessing the markets. What do I want to do next here? Of course, if Bitcoin is going to see a big push lower to, for example, this major demand zone, it's also going to be very interesting to open a Bitcoin trading position. But for now, I don't think that will be happening very fast here in the near future. I do think that's the better scenario, to come back down here and to open a long into the relief rally. But I don't think that is going to be the most likely scenario at the current moment. But we will keep our eyes open for that trading position. If you do want to trade Bitcoin, Ethereum and other altcoins yourself, make sure to come over to LBank, because here you can trade a lot of different altcoins actually. Make sure to come and check that out, because there you can now claim a 50% deposit bonus and a generous refund. And deposit bonus up to 2.5k and generous refund up to 5k. So make sure to come and check that out if you're getting interested in that. and you can find the link towards this offer in the description on this update video. So make sure to check it out for yourself, so you can be claimed at 50% deposit bonus up to 2.5k and your generous refund up to 5k. Of course, in no way financial advice. You should always be doing your own research and knowing for yourself where you do want to be trading at. Now I do want to dive in Ethereum and altcoins to end today's update video. Because for Ethereum, what we can clearly see is that we broke bullish once again above the 50 weekly moving average. I hope we can be closing the weekly candle above that 50 weekly moving average and potentially move towards the bull market support band. That is the bullish move I'm eyeing for ETH, but for that we do want to see a bullish weekly close first. Also, we do know that Ethereum just saw a major upgrade, the Fusaka upgrade, which was a much bigger one than, for example, the Pectra upgrade we saw earlier this year. But still, the Pectra update did push Ethereum a lot higher, over 50%. So if Ethereum is going to show continued weakness after this Fusaka upgrade, it might be exposing a little bit of weakness in the market here. And that's going to tell us a lot of where Ethereum will be moving next year in the near future. For altcoins, I personally think that we should be looking into the Federal Reserve monetary policy, because that's going to be the most important shift for altcoins and the only true bullish catalyst I currently see for altcoins. I think we need more liquidity. To see more liquidity getting injected into the markets, we need somewhat like a stimulus program, like for example QE. And actually, I do think there's a good chance that this could be getting started in 2026. If you look into the historical data, for example, last time QT ended, QE started quite quickly after that, and I think something like that could be happening once again, also with the weakening of the labor market and a lot of other data we've seen coming in the USA. But also we do know that during periods of QT, and QT actually ended here now on the 1st of December, altcoins are usually trending down. We saw it here, we saw it happening from 2022 towards 2025 now, where QT finally ended. So let's see how altcoins will perform from here, probably consolidate a little bit, and then also first Bitcoin can start outperforming once again eventually, if we are going to see a big shift in monetary policy and the continuation of more rate cuts, of course, because that's also going to provide the market with more liquidity, and I think that's going to be absolutely critical. And guys, that was it for today's update video. If you did enjoy today's update video, make sure to come over to the channel, subscribe to the channel, watch and like my latest YouTube videos, and I will see you guys in my next update video tomorrow.